We are back. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with the always lovely and talented Andrea Kay and the always incredible Mr. Urban Miaris. And we have our next guest with us, one that I'm sure makes Miss Andrea very happy over here. Okay.
Any service or product for us gal pals makes me very happy.
And when you have a company with the name Bare Elegance, okay, how does that go wrong? Okay.
No.
So welcome, Nikki McNary from Bare Elegance.
Thank you.
Great. So tell us a little bit about your company. What do you do?
We are a unique boutique, I like to call us, and we offer luxury waxing as well as high-end European lingerie. We're the only place, I believe, in Southern California that has a combination of those two.
Great. So luxury lingerie. Why do I go there first? I don't know.
Because you're a guy.
You're going to get into trouble, Barry.
Just being a typical guy, loving the lingerie. But you know what? You got to have. It's good to have the other happen first.
Yes.
Before we get into the lingerie, right, Miss Nikki?
Yes. Yes. We're all about keeping your bare elegant self as long as possible. And so if you do the waxing first, it's kind of a natural lead-in into the lingerie. And if I could just talk a little bit about the waxing first.
Oh, yes,
absolutely.
by all means. But we got to keep, I got to let these boys know, though, Nikki, that this is a rated G show, okay?
Yes.
The most we're going to take it PG, all right? Barry's looking at me like, what?
Yeah, I'm not
However,
looking at you,
Barry,
I'm
we
looking
do
through you.
have Manscaping Mondays.
Okay.
Not that you need it, Barry.
Yes.
Hey, you know. So tell us more.
Most waxing salons that you go into, they kind of look like a doctor's office. You're in and out. We have specifically designed our treatment rooms to look kind of like your bedroom that you would have at home with dressers and antique mirrors and so forth. And we've really trained our estheticians. We use 4 different kinds of waxes because different waxes work on different body parts and different skin types and different hair types. So we kind of pride ourselves in that. We offer a glass of champagne to our clients afterwards. And that is to get them to browse through our lingerie.
Genius.
That's kind of a method to our madness.
Yeah.
So.
Waxing. When did waxing become so mainstream, so almost necessary in terms of our society and our culture?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I used to be a market researcher, so of course I had to research this. And hair removal and waxing has gone back all the way to the Egyptians, actually.
Really?
Yes. And they did it with honey. And there is a current trend right now for sugaring, which is kind of a remake of that old technique that they used to use. But it's been throughout the centuries. It kind of died down in the Victorian age, and then it sprang back up into prominence more in like the 1990s when the whole Brazilian wax, I know you want to keep it PG,
right?
But Brazilian wax was started in New York City by a woman who was transplanted from Brazil, and she was a cosmetologist. So
interesting. My first experience with waxing was kind of the same as we all did when we fell asleep with a wad of gum in our mouth, and then you wake up and it's in your hair, and you try to get the gum out, and you lose half your scalp, and you know that's painful.
Can we have some pictures?
Yeah. So you know it is painful, but there's things that can do to alleviate the pain, and it's really so worth it.
Yes. And, a couple things that you want to do is, if it's not contraindicated by your doctor, to take a pain reliever such as an ibuprofen before you do it. Again, using the proper technique and the proper wax can help minimize the pain and redness that you would have afterwards. And then we have a couple special little treats that we use on our clients. We have these really nice they're like glass crystal globes that we keep refrigerated, and when you're done with your waxing, especially with your eyebrows and your different areas of your face, we use those to kind of soothe the face. So there's different things that you can do.
And that probably actually minimizes any swelling that might happen as well, because I know like around the face area, that's very tender.
And we have some concern. A lot of women stop by on their lunch hour to get their eyebrows done, and so they don't want to go back to work, and that's, one of the things that we offer with big red eyebrows.
Right. And usually, people think of waxing, they think of, bikini waxing and, making yourself, ready, to put on a swimsuit or lingerie. But actually, facial waxing is really important for women because an eyebrow, the right shape of an eyebrow really sets off the face. Of course, as a lady, you don't want to be walking around with anything on the upper lip or the chin. Okay.
I was going to say, as we get older, myself being one of them, one of the first signs that I was getting older was the esthetician that I went to at the time told me, Nikki, I think it's time to wax underneath your chin.
And you were like,
yeah. I'm like, I didn't even know there was hair there.
Right.
What age range do you have as a client base, and do men come and get waxed?
Yes, and we are typically going after a little older of a woman, maybe 30 to 65, and definitely men. And you mentioned facial hair with men. You know, as men get older, their hair goes a little senile and starts growing in places that it never grew before. And so we have...
and she's looking at me while she says this.
And you're blushing.
She is trying so hard to be politically polite. Forget about being correct. Just polite. That's all.
For example, your ears or your nose as men age. And so, I mean, I think a lot of people think of waxing for men as chest waxing.
Right. Or a back.
Or a back.
But you probably do that as well, though,
yes,
right?
Both, yes.
Yeah. It's much better, guys, to do that than try to shave yourself with a razor off your back. I saw a guy at the beach one day with like blood all over his back and his shirt. It's like, come on, man, go to a salon. There's help out there.
I don't know what beach you're going to, but
Pacific Beach, usually where I hang out. Now, tell me why. I'm curious why some techniques are better than others and why some waxes are better than others. It seems like everybody would have the same wax and everybody would have the same technique. Why is y'all's better and different?
There are different kinds of waxes. There's hard wax and soft wax are the two primary types.
Okay,
and
what does that mean?
Hard wax, you don't use a strip of cloth.
Okay.
After you apply the wax, and it adheres to the individual hair follicles.
Okay.
And it is less irritating to the skin.
Okay.
And those would be for areas such as inside of your nostrils or in certain areas of your bikini wax.
Right.
With the soft wax, you apply it, and then you use muslin strips to pull the wax off, and that is better for larger areas
like your calves maybe
yes.
and your arms, because a lot of people do their arms.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes, they do.
Let's say you have a lady out there and has never had a hot wax done. What do you suggest they do to get prepared for it, or should they just come down and talk with you?
Good question, Irvin.
That's exactly what we do.
Thinking about the ladies.
We will sit down. That's part of our luxury waxing also, is we sit down and do a consultation with you, because a lot of people are nervous, especially if it's going to be a bikini wax or an area that you haven't had waxed before. So we'll sit down with you and talk and look at your hair growth and tell you, okay, this is your pattern of your hair growth. This is the kind of wax we would recommend. We also do like a pre-treatment with certain essential oils to help moisturize the skin. So, but
and that helps prevent ingrown hairs
yes,
as well,
it does.
doesn't it?
Yes, and then the after treatment too, by putting treatments on the skin after the waxing itself. But I think a lot of it, and that's why we try to make our whole salon is very soothing, because people do get nervous. I mean, it's a personal service, and there is some pain. And if people tell you there's no pain,
well, then they're lying to you. We all saw a 40-year-old virgin. We saw what happened to him when he had that chest hair ripped off.
Okay,
Good grief.
we always like to ask a story. I got to hear this one. Give us a story about something that happened.
I don't know,
in business
Irvin. We're
with the
still
customer.
trying to stay PG here.
Okay,
Right. Hold on. Let me get my cup of
PG,
coffee.
but I'm going to do a little bit of making fun of men. Is that
No,
okay?
you know,
Oh, go girl. You do
it's
it.
not like this would be the first time.
Very used to that.
So when women wax, they're all about, what the results are and what you look like. And we hand women a mirror to look and see, what their eyebrows look like, what their upper lip looks like. Men, on the other hand, they want to see that piece of wax. They want to see that muslin strip, because they want to see the hair that came out of their body.
Why?
And we cry
That
louder,
is like
don't
so
we?
odd.
Maybe he laughed. Barry laughed.
I don't
Yeah, but
laugh.
he's staying oddly quiet.
Of
Why is
course
that?
I'm saying
Answer on the heart of men. What's the
because I'm
obsession
in
with the hair?
I'm just in a listening position, okay?
Well, men are from Mars and women are from Venus,
Maybe it's
right?
they're a little more scientific and they want to see the results of, actual evidence of the results. I don't know.
Could be, because maybe they're not even believing. Maybe they're in denial as to how bad the hair
And
situation
I will say one
was.
other thing, that men are more prone to tearing up
Really?
during the waxing session.
Interesting.
It's a little secret.
Well,
See, this is almost like a little sociology experiment.
Maybe it's a function of experience, where it's a new experience versus women having been doing this forever and ever. So.
Yes, it could be.
So
no,
Hey.
Women have a higher tolerance for pain. That's why we bear the children. Okay.
Tell us a bit about the lingerie that you have.
Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about, just real briefly, about my background. I was divorced after about 23 years of marriage and got thrown back into the whole dating game and I felt like my Gap underwear wasn't going to cut it in the dating game. And so what I did was look for some kind of thing that made me feel pretty. I couldn't find anything except Victoria's Secret, and so I started looking online. And there was no place that I could find here in San Diego that sold lingerie of the caliber that I wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing research online and found that most of the elegant but somewhat sensual lingerie was from either Paris or the UK. Mm-hmm. And so I started contacting them, and a lot of it was from up-and-coming designers. And so what we did was I built relationships with them, and often it was the designer themselves that had just launched, and we brought their lines over into the United States and here in San Diego.
Wonderful. Now, if somebody feels a little shy about coming in and trying on the lingerie, can they get that online from you?
Not yet.
Okay.
We don't have that capability yet. I will say also that we have a certified bra fitter that can help you with lingerie sizes.
Really? Oh,
yes.
See, then you really do need to come into the salon and really, have the glass of champagne.
I can't imagine this
relax.
this kind of retail outlet doing it online. It just doesn't. It wouldn't work for me.
Well, it would for me if I had come in, and this is maybe something to think about down the road. If I had come in and bought stuff there, then I just want to repeat order.
Well, and I will say that we're a relatively new boutique,
right?
But most of our lingerie sales have been to men.
Interesting.
Oh.
For their significant
Well, that
others.
tells me you're on the right track then with what what you're supplying in your store, because the men are digging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170theanswer.com. Give us a tweet at CloseUpSD. Email me at barrycloseupsandiego.com or find our page on Facebook. We want to hear from you. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-host, Andrea Kay, Urban Miaris, and our guest is Nikki McNary from Bare Elegance. I had to find some way to break into that conversation there, Andrea.
Well, hey. You were wanting to the whole time.
Well, probably so, but it's kind of hard to break in.
You're just trying to be a gentleman.
After you have sugar and coffee, that's it.
This is true. Yeah. I'm like a racehorse out the gate. Now, the salon's fairly new.
Yes.
What inspired you to go into this line of work? What were you doing before? You said you were in market research before. How did you go from that career into this one?
I was a marketing consultant, and when I moved out here, one of the clients that I picked up was a waxing salon here in San Diego, and was helping them with their marketing and their operations. And I saw an opportunity in a market niche to go after kind of the higher end clientele, the more women of a certain age. And so that's kind of how I got into that. And I was tired of doing marketing consulting and wanted to do something totally different.
Are you having fun? Are you just loving it so far?
Oh, yeah. It's great. It is really fun. And what I find inspiring is that I'm able to inspire other women. To see their eyes light up when they come in, just to see something that they haven't seen before. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Any plans for more salons and more locations?
Yes. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and so the Midwest is actually a very attractive market for waxing. There isn't a whole lot of competition there. And
are you saying people are particularly hairy in the Midwest?
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I am.
I got family in Ohio, so I can say that.
It has something to do with the weather where they just get stuck inside.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
So
fantastic. Yeah. What challenges were some of the greatest ones you faced in terms of launching a business here in San Diego? Was it in terms of permitting, finding locations?
Finding locations, definitely. I came to find out that the amount of retail space was at 2% unoccupied retail space.
Really?
Yes. And I had several real estate brokers working with me. And one of the things that I wanted to find was a place that had sufficient parking, because you can't attract someone to a service business if you don't have good parking, as well as in a nice area that has kind of a lot of foot traffic. And so when we ended up at Costa Verde Center, that was the place. We almost looked for a whole year before we found something.
Wow. Well, I think it's a great location.
Yeah. How long would you search before you found your current location?
It took about a year,
wow,
actually. and we looked at numerous places. The other drawback to us is that we had to have a dedicated restroom facility within our salon, according to the state board regulations. And that was surprising to me. Being from Ohio, every commercial business always has, or retail business has a restroom, but in California they don't. So that was kind of interesting to me too.
Before we run out of time, I want to get back a little bit to the waxing.
Okay.
Because there's different types of waxing.
Yes.
And we touched a little bit on the Brazil. What's the most popular? Is that the Brazilian right now?
Yes, it is.
That's the all bare.
Yes, it is.
Now, is that the most popular with women or the most popular with men, or both?
It's the most popular with women. Surprisingly, we have seen a lot of men in our salon, and I'd say about half of them, we call them manzillions.
Okay.
It is a trend, and I've heard that it's a trend. It's kind of a rite of passage now for young men to
really
to undergo this. So.
The manzillion.
Manzillion.
What a gift certificate that would be for the man that thinks he has everything.
Well, you know what?
Barry's looking at me
why
like,
don't you
Andrew,
just get us some gift certificates? We'll put them out on air, and we'll get all the manzillion wannabes over to you. Okay?
Well, and actually, we were thinking of a Mother's Day special, trying to be kind of funny and tongue-in-cheek, and advertising to the women, if you want your own Mother's Day present, send your significant male over and have him get one.
Have him get the manzillion.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just about out of time. Tell our listeners how they find out more about you. Where you located, website, all that good stuff.
We're in Costa Verde Center, right above the post office at 8650 Genesee Avenue, and our website is www.bareelegancewaxing.com.
Awesome.
Great. Well, I appreciate you being with us. And when we get you back another time, I'll actually participate in the conversation.
Okay.
Sorry, Andrew. So, anyway, you're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KCBQ, streaming live at AM1170theanswer.com. Send us a tweet at CloseUpSD or just find our page on Facebook. You can always email me at Barry@CloseUpSanDiego.com. Let us know what you think. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, and we will be right back after a word from our sponsors.